Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to MiM Monday. This is Mickey in Minutes Live, a quick conversation about some of the latest Disney news stories with you. Thanks so much for everyone joining me in the chat. On today's show, 900 million guests at Disneyland, Tony Baxter signing art at Epcot, Rapunzel and Flynn have finally been cast, and so much more. So, yeah, thanks again for everybody joining me in the chat. I already see some people hanging out. Guys, this is the first MiM Monday back since December 15th. So we have a whole lot to talk about. But let's see. A little bit of housekeeping here. Anybody who doesn't know what MiM Monday is, like I said, this is our live show. We're going to discuss some of the latest Disney news stories. So if you're joining me in the chat, be sure to leave your comments or questions below to become a part of the conversation. Join me. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to the playback, or you're watching this on YouTube as a playback, be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments as well. And I hope that you can join me live on Instagram next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So, yeah, what's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We're back, guys. This is kind of a sort of official kickoff of Season 8 of Mickey in Minutes. Of course, if you don't know, a little bit of background here, Mickey in Minutes is a podcast mostly, and I know you're thinking I'm listening to this as a podcast. Well, this is a new show that we came up with last season called MiM Monday, but the actual podcast, the Mickey in Minutes podcast, that's something kind of different. I mean, it's still me talking, but it's topics that I curate and write scripts for, and it's really interesting, and that is coming back officially on the last Friday of January. And actually what we're doing, we're trying to come up with a new schedule this year where we're releasing things more consistently. So, of course, MiM Monday will be every Monday. The playbacks will drop every Tuesday. And then the official podcast episodes will drop the last Friday of every month. So that's going to be 12 podcast episodes with tons of different topics. So I'm not going to spoil too much of what we're doing on the podcast this season, but we have some really, really great ideas. If you like Disney history and backstories, you're going to really like that. And also, if you're a fan of the TV show Once Upon a Time, you're going to really, really like Season 8 of Mickey in Minutes. I'm not going to spoil what we're doing, but it is the 15th anniversary of Season 1 of Once Upon a Time. So we're big fans of that show here at Mickey in Minutes. So, if you like that show, you're really going to like what we're doing here. So what's going on, everybody in the chat? Thanks so much for hanging out. Let's jump right into the news here. And like I said, I haven't done a news show in about a month, so I'm literally just picking the stories that I want to talk about. There's a lot more that happened than just what I'm going to talk about, but these are the things that piqued my interest the most. And I think we're going to start off with something that, as a Disney fan, as a fan of Disney nostalgia, really got me kind of excited. I think Disney World kicked things off with a bang this year in 2026 with a new commercial that they debuted featuring Stacy. So if you're a Disney Parks fan, then or a Disney World fan, I should say, then hearing the name Stacy should ring a bell. And if it's not, then let me just say the phrase, "Must do Disney." So if you don't know, Stacy was the host of the show on Resort TV. That was the channel when you're staying at a Walt Disney World resort that you would, flip on in the resort only. And it was a show called Must Do Disney. And so Stacy was the host of this show, and she would literally just give you the must-dos. She would say, it's time to do the must-dos. And she would go through each park and she would talk about the exciting things. She was kind of like, the first social media influencer, it feels like, back in an age when there was no social media, but she did all the things that, the influencers do now. In the chat, I see Resort TV was my favorite way of getting to the Disney spirit. Exactly. Me too. And honestly, Stacy's must-dos was a big part of it. I mean, I can't walk by, Splash Mountain. Well, now Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but Splash Mountain without saying, "You're gonna get wet," and just so many things. When she introduced the magic bands, so good. So a little bit of background here, and then I'll tell you what the story is. Must Do Disney debuted back in 2005 on Walt Disney World Resort TV, and it was there for 15 years. It got a couple updates here and there. I remember they added the Magic Band thing. They added some like new Fantasyland stuff, but it was on there for a while, and then it went away in 2020. When the parks closed, they kind of shut everything down. And in 2021, when the parks reopened, there was a new show. I guess they took that opportunity to get rid of Must Do Disney. And in my opinion, nothing they've ever done on Resort TV has come up to par with what Stacy did with the Must Do's. And they've done a whole bunch of different things. I think right now, last thing I remember was a show with some like young like teen influencers or whatever doing the whole thing, but it didn't live up to Stacy doing the must-dos. And so Stacy Aswad, Aswad, she returned for a commercial kicking off the new year in January of 2026, and it was really a super brief appearance, but they were basically the narrator was saying, welcome to a world of, and then it pans over the castle and you see Stacy look up at the camera and say, "Must do's." And that was pretty much it. And then she hugs on like Minnie and Daisy and she was like, "Oh, I missed you guys," or something like that. And that was it. And so on Stacy's official Instagram page, she basically made a point of saying, this was a really fun 15-second reunion. Something to that extent, right? Kind of implying that that's all it was. But of course, all of us Disney fans went nuts when we saw this commercial. I mean, I know I did, and we were just thinking, "Oh my goodness, are they bringing Stacy back to Resort TV?" Because, I mean, gosh, that would be amazing. And I know, like a lot of the younger generations, the younger kids who go to Disney and watch Resort TV, they might be attached to what they're watching now in the same way that we're attached to Stacy. And gosh, I even remember when I was a little kid before Stacy, there was that one like dude with like khaki pants and like a polo, and he'd be walking around with the the ticket. It was like a ticket in a costume. I don't know. And it was like he would be talking about fast passes, and they would do like the zippity doo dah tip for today. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I feel like I'm really showing my age here, but anyways, so that was exciting. Just to hear Stacy say, must-dos again was really cool. I don't think she's coming back, so I don't think we need to get our hopes up, but that would be really cool. Let me know in the comments down below, wherever you're listening, did you see this ad? And if you did you know who that was? Did you know that was Stacy from Must Do Disney? And if you did, how stoked were you? Because I was super stoked. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I still put on Must Do Disney on YouTube when I'm getting ready for a trip. Even when I'm not getting ready for a trip, I'll just put it on, and it's comforting. It's one of those like warm blanket feelings just to watch Stacy do the musties. So, anyways, a little bit of Disneyland news. So, this was not officially reported, but just kind of glazed over for some reason, and that is the fact that the 900 millionth guest has visited Disneyland. And there's no date for when that happened. It was kind of glazed over. The OC Register reported this according to information that was given in the new documentary that's coming out soon called Disney Handcrafted by Leslie Iwerks. And we're going to talk about that documentary in just a second. But apparently it was mentioned in that documentary that Disney has crossed 900 million guests. That's insane. And I'll be honest, I'm not good at mental math or like estimating something. Let's see in the chat, did the guests get something cool? I don't know. So here's the thing. Here's what's weird about this. Disney used to track this attendance, right? They used to be pretty open about it, and they would give guests little prizes or things, So basically, in 1971, remember Disneyland opened in 1955. In 1971, they reached their 100 million visitors. And then in 1981, 200 million. And then they reached 300 million in 1989, 400 million in 1997, 500 million in 2004. And somewhere along the line, they kind of stopped reporting it, and they kind of stopped making a big deal about it. They used to make a big deal about it. And so I don't know. I don't know if the guests got a reward. I feel like they should have gotten something, a button or something. But apparently, if you're into math, if Disneyland continues current attendance rates, then they could hit 1 billion visitors in late 2031. That's crazy, right? But again, like I was saying, I'm not good at math or estimating, so I kind of figured they would have done that by now. But what do I know? That's a huge number and a very cool thing to mention here at the top of the show, kicking off 2026, because that's a really big number. 900 million guests. Now, I mentioned that the OC Register apparently got this information from the new documentary series, movie coming out on Disney Plus on January 22nd called Disney Handcrafted by Leslie Iwerks. So if you don't know who Leslie Iwerks is, the last name Iwerks might sound familiar to you. She's a documentary filmmaker, and her grandfather was Ub Iwerks. So Ub Iwerks was the co-creator of Mickey Mouse. He created the multi-plane camera also for Disney, and he worked very, very closely with Walt Disney himself. His son was also not famous, but like worked in the Disney company. His name was Don Iwerks, and he worked in the machine shop at the Disney company, and he actually helped develop the 360-degree Circle Vision camera that was first used in Circle-Rama, USA. And he built film equipment for the 64 World's Fair. He built film equipment that was used on Captain EO, and all this bunch of stuff. And then, of course, his daughter, Leslie Iwerks, became a filmmaker and has been focusing on Disney history, really. So it was a while ago, Disney used to release these DVD series called Disney Treasures. And there was a Disney Treasures series on Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And on that DVD set, in there was a documentary about Ub Iwerks on there. And Leslie Iwerks ended up also working on something that you probably know if you watch Disney Plus, called The Imagineering Story. And that was kind of like the catalyst for this new documentary coming out called Disney Handcrafted. And so apparently when she was working on The Imagineering Story, there was a lot of footage that she found that was left on the cutting room floor, as they say. And, a lot of outtakes, a lot of archival footage that she felt needed to be seen. And so that's when she decided to make Disney Handcrafted. And so Disney has released just recently a little featurette, about 8 to 10 minutes on the Disney YouTube channel, that kind of shows Leslie making this documentary and talking about what it means to her to make this documentary and how she got this footage. And it's really interesting if you want to go on YouTube and watch this featurette, kind of like a a short preview for the movie that comes out soon, January 22nd. So I actually saw Leslie Iwerks speak when I went to D23 Expo back in 2015. She actually was the host of the Disneyland 60th Imagineering panel that I went to with somebody else who I'm about to talk about now on MiM Monday, Tony Baxter, as well as several other Imagineers were there too. So I got to see her in person, which was really a very cool thing. So if you're a Disney fan, be sure to watch Disney Handcrafted on January 22nd on Disney Plus. I know I will. Tons of old footage of Walt Disney, and you might be thinking there's been a million documentaries on Walt Disney and making Disneyland and all that stuff. What makes this different? Well, Leslie Iwerks for one. The fact that her family, has been in the Disney company. Her grandfather knew Walt Disney, and she has an inside track that a lot of other filmmakers probably don't, and access to so much just archival footage from the Disney archives that a lot of other people wouldn't probably be able to get. So there we go. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the chat, Tim. So next thing I want to talk about, and that is Tony Baxter. So like I mentioned, he was at the Imagineering panel that I got to see way back in 2015. He's a famous Imagineer. He's worked on so many things that you probably know. My favorite attraction of all time, that is Splash Mountain. He was instrumental for that. Of course, the Indiana Jones Adventure, which if you listen back on MiM Monday Season 7, I did a series called Dismantling Dinoland, and the second part of that mini-series was about the Indiana Jones Adventure, and I talked about Tony Baxter and stuff, so go back and check that out. Shameless plug there. But he also worked on Star Tours, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and, of course, everyone's favorite Epcot attraction, Journey into Imagination. I say that kind of facetiously because some people don't like that, but that's only because you never experienced the original, probably. But anyways, so Tony Baxter, if you know who I'm talking about, if you don't know who I'm talking about, now you do. You want to meet him? You can. He's going to be at Epcot. Guys, he's going to be at Epcot. This is news, people. This is Disney news. So at the Epcot International Festival of the Arts, Tony Baxter will be signing at the Disney Fine Art booth on the World Showcase Bridge. He'll be there from January 22nd through 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then he'll take a little break, and then he'll be back 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And he will be signing 2 pieces of art. Well, maybe 3, but I'm going to get there in a second. Tim, I see your comment in the chat about Indiana Jones. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Hey, what's going on? Disney Drinks. What's going on? We're talking about Tony Baxter being at Epcot soon. So this is crazy. So this legendary Disney legend Imagineer, he has 2 pieces of art that he has created. One of them is called let's see if I pronounce this right, Tyrolean Fantasy. This is a piece of art inspired by Pinocchio, and another piece of art inspired by Mary Poppins called Steps of St. Paul's. And you could purchase this art and get to personally meet Tony Baxter, and he will sign it for you. Now, I don't think that you'd be able to walk up to him with a Splash Mountain attraction poster or anything like that. I believe if you want to meet him, you have to purchase the art that he's selling, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, now he also teased something. I know it's just those 2 pieces of art for sure, but he also said, or Disney Fine Art teased, saying, quote, "Come say hello, have your artwork signed, and keep your eyes open in our booth. You may spot a little extra Disney art magic we promise is real and not just a figment of your imagination." So, to me, that's got to mean that there's going to be another piece of art there, of figment or inspired by Journey into Imagination. Guys, this is huge. This is amazing. So, Tony Baxter, Oh my goodness. If I was there, I would wait all day. I'd wait all day to meet Tony Baxter. So, I mean, just to thank him for some of these attractions, Splash Mountain, Indiana Jones, Star Tours, Big Thunder Mountain, Figment. Oh my goodness. So let's see down here in the chat. Indiana Jones was one of my best memories from when I went with Meg, and yes, I'd want to meet him. Yeah, okay. So yes, Indiana Jones, love it. Love that Indiana Jones stage show. We're going to talk about that incident in just a second. Tony Baxter, I'd love to meet him too. Let's see. Disney Drinks said, wish he was there to discuss an Imagination revamp. Dude, you and me both. That attraction. All right. Can we just talk for a second? We're talking about Festival of the Arts. You know there's going to be another Figment popcorn bucket released. You know that Disney is just siphoning money from this IP of Figment. And I feel like since they're making so much money from selling merch, because, there's suckers like me buying stuff like this, that they're not in a hurry to make a new attraction because they're like, well, people like it well enough. But, there was rumors, pretty solid rumors of an Imagination Pavilion overhaul, before COVID. That didn't happen. But yes. All right. How about everybody who goes to meet Tony Baxter just bombards him with questions about Imagination, about a Figment revamp, and maybe he'll, take it back to Disney and say, people really want this. But also, I'm the guy who's always going to be optimistic and hopeful that we're going to get an announcement sometime in the future of an Imagination revamp. And I'm thinking maybe D23 Expo. I know we say that every year. Maybe D23, maybe D23. But again, shall we say it all together? Maybe D23. Maybe we'll find out. But he's not the only superstar that's going to be there signing art at Festival of the Arts soon. Paige O'Hara is also going to be there. She is the voice of Belle. I met her at a local con here in my city, and she was the sweetest person. Just took the time to talk to me and my wife. We were in a line of people, so it wasn't a super long conversation, but it was at least 2 or 3 minutes. And she signed our art and, gave us hugs, and it was just amazing to meet her. And then, of course, Brett Iwan. I am staring right here at an autograph from Brett Iwan because I also met him at a local Comic-Con here in my city. And so cute. He signed it. He had a picture of him hugging on Mickey Mouse or standing next to Mickey Mouse. And dude, Tony, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. I'm so happy you're here, Tony. What's going on? So I met Brett Iwan, and he signed From Your Pals, Brett Iwan and Mickey Mouse. And so that was so cool. He is obviously the voice of Mickey Mouse, the current voice of Mickey Mouse. Not in Runaway Railway, actually. That's Christy Metopoulos. But also, everything else. So they're going to be there. So if you want to meet Brett Iwan, Paige O'Hara, Tony Baxter, and tons of other Disney artists, go to Festival of the Arts. Guys, go to Festival of the Arts. See, Tony says, it's so neat how you got to get something signed. Yes, very cool. I got something signed from Paige O'Hara also. It was amazing. Finally got your notification. Good, Tony. I'm glad. Mark your calendar, Tony. Every Monday, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Come hang out. Let's see. Meg says, is that the guy that liked your shirt and got one too? Yes. So, funny story. Some of you already know, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, I mentioned this on a Mickey Minutes episode right after I met Brett Iwan. So I met him, and I was wearing this button-down shirt of Mickey Mouse, of like old classic Mickey Mouse drawings. I got it. I think I got it like Forever 21 or something weird like that. But it was a really cool shirt. It was a nice button-down shirt. And so I met him. I wore that shirt intentionally because I knew I was going to be Brett Iwan. And he was like, dude, nice shirt. I really like that. Where'd you get it? And I was like, oh, I got it at Forever 21. I think it was Forever 21. Whatever. That's not the point. So I told him where I got it. And then soon after that was D23 Expo. And I saw a video of him at D23 Expo for that year wearing the exact shirt that I was wearing. So clearly I was the inspiration behind him buying that. So I just feel really cool about that. But Brett Iwan's such a nice dude. You can have him sign some stuff. He's an artist himself, and so is Paige O'Hara. And they're both very talented. So if you can meet Brett Iwan, have him sign a picture of Mickey Mouse. That's really cool. So let's see. Down in the chat, Festival of the Arts is my next year bucket list. I love Festival of the Arts. I've been to Festival of the Arts twice. So many cool things going on. This year, there's a Lorcana event, which I wish I can go. I've seen some pictures already of the oversized cards that you can take pictures with. So cool. I know this past weekend was also, side note, Lorcana competition, so that's really cool. Congrats to the winners on that. Very cool. And then, of course, there's such really good food, because, won't be an Epcot festival without food. So, Tony, when you get over there next year, you're going to enjoy it. Everybody going this year, if you meet Tony Baxter, especially Tony Baxter, send me pictures. I want to see that. Let's see. You have the Tower of Terror ornament by chance? Yeah, dude. I have a two different Tower of Terror ornaments. They're both on my tree downstairs, which, yes, we still have the Christmas tree up. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. Let's see. It's the best of the festivals, as far as I'm concerned. Disney drinks. I agree with you. It's my absolute favorite festival. I love it so much. I love the Disney on Broadway concerts. So cool. Love to see both ornaments. Dude, Tony, when I take down the tree, I'll take some pictures of the ornaments, and I'll DM them to you so you can see them. They're very, very cool. So let's see. Moving on. Tim wanted to talk about the Indiana Jones incident that happened. So basically, in the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, the boulder, this was a few weeks ago now. I had this on my notes, and I actually deleted the tab for some reason. But anyways, so the boulder that chases Indiana Jones kind of bounced off the track and then bounced on the ground and almost went into the audience. And another cast member jumped up and blocked it out of the way, saving cast members from being hit by this. Guys, this is not a real boulder, but it's also not light. So this is a rubber ball that weighs 400 pounds. So, no small thing. Heard about it in passing. Yeah, dude, this happened. It's crazy. The guy's okay. The guy who blocked it, he's okay. He fell down. He got some stitches. He was recovering for a while, but he's doing okay. He was actually the cast member who was playing the director in the show. So if you don't know, Epic Stunt Spectacular, it's a stage show where they're acting like they're filming scenes from Indiana Jones, from the movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so there's the actors, and there's a stuntman, and women, and then there's the crew, the director, and all these other people who are on stage and acting like the director and acting like the stagehands and whatnot. And so that guy saved the day. Apparently he's a former stunt performer from the show who is now playing the director in the show, which is a non-stunt role. But hearing that he was a stunt actor is actually reassuring, meaning that he knows how to take a hit and take a fall. But still, 400 pounds coming at you without warning, that could be devastating. So I'm really glad he's okay. Let's see in the chat. If it were me, Starry fans, I'm not jumping in front. That's crazy. Yeah, I agree. Let's see, Tim's stunts are always dangerous, especially in the live show. Yeah, good for this guy, to do his job and to look out for other people, So right on, dude. And the show must go on. Unfortunately, it went on for a while without the boulder. So basically, after that scene, Indy would grab the idol, and he'd kind of go to the side a little bit, and there would be no boulder, but a bunch of fire would shoot up, and then he'd fall into a hole. And that was it. So very anticlimactic, especially if you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I expect everybody on the planet has seen. But I'm sure the show will be back to normal soon if it's not already. So, yeah. Anyways, Festival of the Arts. Let's see, I just pulled up my notes. Foodie guide came out. Go look at this foodie guide. actually go. You can see the foodie guide on Disney Parks blog, but I advise that you go on YouTube and look up the foodie guide for Festival of the Arts this year, because Disney made this hilarious video describing the food, and it has this guy who like pretends to be like Bob Ross, and it's like a DJ. I don't even know how to describe this. It's hysterical. So Disney YouTube, great video. It's really funny. But there's a Figment cake, which looks really cool, and a bunch of other things. So go check that out. Let's see in the chat. I wonder what the ball is made of. Oh, the Indiana Jones boulder is made of rubber. It's 400 pounds of rubber. Let's see, Tim in the chat. I hope it goes back to normal. It'd be a shame if it were not. Yeah. They've already lost a lot of elements from that show over the years, like due to COVID, especially before COVID. They used to pick people from the crowd to be in the show, to be extras in the show. And that was always a really cool feature. They stopped doing that after COVID-19. So hopefully they figure out what happened. I'm just curious what happened. How did the boulder fall off its track? So anyways, hopefully they put more safety measures if the boulder returns. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that's exactly what they're working on. Finding out what happened and then preventing it from happening ever again. Because I'm sure other people, might not be as brave as that guy jumping in front of that. Let's see. Is this a rumor? I saw something on Instagram about Rise closing indefinitely at Disneyland. No, that's true, but it's not as bad as it sounds. It's just refurbishment. It went down for refurbishment. I would have volunteered. Tim, dude, I'm sure you could be a stunt guy, dude. Just maybe volunteer, maybe become the next Indiana Jones. I'd watch that. Let's see, Disney Drinks. Look, we still have the show. One considered the site for Star Wars. I think they're going to make it Tatooine before they decide to make it Galaxy's Edge. They were going to make Galaxy's Edge Tatooine. That was something they definitely considered. And yeah, I'm happy that we still have Indiana Jones 2. That's something that could have gone a long time ago. That's the last remaining element of original MGM Studios, guys. So let's hang on tight to Indiana Jones. We can't lose it, because if we lose Indiana Jones at Studios, then that's it. There's nothing left from original studios as far as attractions goes. Maybe it's my calling. Yeah, go for it, Tim. Do it. So moving on. Next story here. They have finally, after months and months and months of rumors, cast the leads for the new Tangled movie. So if you know who these people are, you guys have to help me out, because I don't. Another thing, I guess, is kind of showing my my age here, but they've cast Rapunzel and Flynn Rider for the live action Tangled movie. Rapunzel will be played by Tegan Croft, and Flynn Rider will be played by Milo Manheim. So I could tell you what they're from just from reading this, but I haven't seen these things. So Tegan Croft, the actress playing Rapunzel, she's an Australian actress, and she played Raven in Titans, which was the live-action adaptation of Teen Titans. So I've never seen that. I don't know who she is, but just looking at her face, she looks like she can play Rapunzel to me. And I saw a clip on Instagram of her singing, and she has a fantastic voice. So I like that. And I will tell you something about this casting. Just my opinion here. I'm really glad that they didn't go with some huge celebrity, right? There's been all sorts of rumors, going from, Taylor Swift to that other blonde pop star that's really famous. I don't remember what her name is. The one from Girl Witch World. So all these, big celebrities were rumored. I'm glad they went with somebody who's kind of an unknown. I'll be honest. I feel like seeing a huge celebrity would take me out of the movie. That's something I appreciated about the Aladdin live action remake, is that those were fairly unknown people. But on the flip side of that, that's something that really took me out of the Beauty and the Beast live action remake. Seeing Hermione Granger as Belle was really kind of weird for me. I couldn't focus on her as Belle because she's Hermione, and I guess that's the kind of the curse of being a super famous actress or actor, or especially being kind of typecast and known for a specific role, that can kind of throw you off for other roles. So I'm really glad that they got an unknown to play Rapunzel in Tangled. Unknown to me, anyways. But clearly nothing huge that she's been in. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the chat. We're talking about the casting of Disney's live action Tangled. Let me know in the chat, what do you think of Tegan Croft being cast as Rapunzel? Sabrina Carpenter is who you're thinking of. Thank you, Meg. I knew you would know. Yes, Sabrina Carpenter was one of the rumors as well. I'm really glad they didn't get her. She's way too famous for this. And so Flynn Rider, the guy who's playing Flynn Rider, he is most known for being on Disney Channel in the movie Zombies. I guess there was more than one movie, Zombies. And he played the lead, a character named Zed. So I may be a Disney adult, but I don't watch Disney Channel anymore. So I don't know who this guy is. Do you guys know who this guy is? Is he good? Do we like him? Do we like him for Flynn Rider? I don't know. Let me know. I do know. I was looking through his IMDb page, and I saw that he was in something recently. I think last year. It was a Christmas movie about the Nativity. He played Joseph in the Nativity story. So I don't know. I never saw it, the movie, but I know that was a musical. So what I gather from that is that he's got singing chops, you know? So that's really cool. I don't know. Meg says she's too short. Sabrina Carpenter, yeah, I've always heard that she's really short. Yes, I love that they picked new faces. Yep, I agree. So anyways, that's your Flynn Rider. Excuse me, that's your Flynn Rider and your Rapunzel. See, Disney drinks. You have kids, so do you know who these people are? Have you seen these movies with your kids, I guess? So the other thing that's really cool about this is the director. The director announced for the Tangled remake is Michael Gracie, most known for directing The Greatest Showman. So I don't really watch a lot of musicals, you know, besides Disney movies, but I did see The Greatest Showman, and that movie was awesome. That was a really, really great movie. The music was fantastic. You know, obviously Hugh Jackman's Zac Efron. What a great movie. Zendaya was in that movie too, right? And it was really, really good. So, gosh, I just felt like Demi Lovato there. It's really good. But that movie's really good. And so I'm really hoping that kind of energy, that the energy of The Greatest Showman is brought into Tangled, the liveliness of the musical numbers from that movie, and just, you know, the excitement. I mean, who knew that a movie about a circus could be exciting? So, but you know, Tangled is an adventure movie, and it needs to be exciting. It needs to be thrilling, but it's also a romance movie. You know, it needs to be beautiful. So I have high hopes. I'm somebody who's been extremely critical of the Disney live action remakes for a very, very long time. There's a few of them that I like, not many of them that I love, and a lot of them that I hate. Meg, I like mugs. Another Demi Lovato reference. Thanks, Meg. That's awesome. Let's see. So he's been in a little for Disney. So your kids like Disney. So would your kids, Disney drinks, be excited for a Tangled remake? Let me know. So one more thing I want to mention about this Tangled remake, and that is the fact that the fan casting for Catherine Hahn to play Mother Gothel is on point. So I do know who Catherine Hahn is. She's been in a ton of things, but most recently, she was Agatha in Agatha All Along, and Vision, what's it called? WandaVision. And she looks like she can play the part of Mother Gothel. She just has the look for it from what I've seen. And I never saw Agatha All Along, but I did see WandaVision, and she was great in that movie. So that's the rumor. You know, they're the fan casting anyways, but there is actually a rumor that apparently some of the producers or director or somebody followed her on Instagram. So the director of Tangled followed her on Instagram, or somebody did. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Oh, let's see in the chat. Catherine Hahn is the best part of this casting. While she's not officially in talks. Yep. So I'm hoping they bring her in, and that could really tie it together. These movies do need one name to kind of bring in people, but it doesn't need to be the lead. So I think bringing Catherine Hahn in as Mother Gothel, and then two relatively unknowns or at least mainstream unknowns for Flynn and Rapunzel would be fantastic. The other thing that I think needs to happen is we need Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi to be in this movie somehow, right? They're the original voice actors for Flynn and Rapunzel. And if they could be in this movie, I know the fans are clamoring for Zach and Mandy to play Rapunzel's parents in this movie. I think that'd be fantastic. That'd be beautiful. But even if they're not, even if it's like two side characters, like Zachary Levi plays like a random thug in the movie, or Mandy Moore plays somebody from the palace or something, even if they're just in it for a second, I think that'd be really, really great. So anyways, yeah, a lot of news, guys. So we've been running long here. There's so much to talk about because, like I said, I've been out of this for a month. I haven't done a live show in a month. So these are the stories that interest me. These are the things that I just really wanted to talk about. And I think I'll end with one more story, a small story, something that I think will get people excited. And that is the fact that the Diamond Horseshoe at the Magic Kingdom is going to have its first show on that stage in over 20 years. Guys, we're finally bringing back a show to the Diamond Horseshoe, even though it's going to be a limited run. It's going to be called Jesse's Roundup, and it's part of Cool Kid Summer at Walt Disney World this summer 2026. And I just hope that, I don't know anything about what this show is. Jesse's Roundup, it's, could be Jesse and Woody and Buzz, dancing around on stage, or probably not Buzz, right? He's not a cowboy. Jesse, Woody, what's the Bullseye, the horse, those characters. Stinky Pete would be great, doing something on stage. But I hope that this leads to Disney realizing that it's a shame to have this beautiful venue without a show. So I'm really, really excited to have a new show back at the Diamond Horseshoe at Magic Kingdom. So, and that kind of makes me think of this old rumor. Way back in the day, there was a rumor that the Country Bear Jamboree at Magic Kingdom was going to close and be replaced with a Woody's Roundup show. And it was going to be like Woody and Jesse as like marionettes on the stage, kind of like, the actual or the fake TV show that was in Toy Story 2. That never happened, thank goodness, because we still have the Country Bears, which are classic and original to Walt Disney World. But, no good idea ever dies at Disney. So if they thought a Roundup stage show was a good idea, they're obviously bringing it back for this. But, I don't know if that should be the permanent show at Diamond Horseshoe, but something needs to be there because we need to bring more life, more live entertainment back into the parks. Just little by little, start bringing this stuff back. But anyways, thanks so much for hanging out with me, for joining me for this MiM Monday Live. This is Mickey in Minutes Live. If you've been listening on the playback on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, remember that you could be a part of the conversation every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time live on Instagram. And be sure to follow Mickey in Minutes and on Instagram. And I'm on Instagram at Nick in Minutes. Subscribe wherever you listen and stay tuned because season 8 of the Mickey in Minutes podcast is starting really, really, really soon. And lots of really great stuff is going to be coming your way. So stay tuned. And thanks again. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga. I'll see you next week. Bye.